Hey everyone, it's Cassie.
It's Esty. We're best friend-in-laws. We've got some shit to say.
I'm ready. Are you?
Mm-hmm.
All right, another episode. Here we are.
Another week. Here we
Hello,
go.
people.
Hey, besties.
It's the besties here. I want to get into my week.
Yeah, tell me all about it.
I mean, it was long. I had a good Mother's Day.
Good, I'm glad.
The beach was great, as y'all probably heard on last week's episode. That's where I did.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really into this year boundary setting, and I seen another person I follow on TikTok about Mother's Day. We're always like, oh, we have to get this person a gift and see their mom and this mom, and then I come to realize I feel like people celebrate and just do for them. Like, I'm gonna do what I want to do on Mother's Day
Because I'm a mother.
Mm-hmm. And same thing for Father's Day, and other extended family or parents, they get grandparents' days, or we can make another day about them.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that we did that this year and just went away.
Yeah. You kind of just have to learn to get over hurting people's feelings.
Yes.
Because not everybody can make it about themselves. And speaking of, remember how I was telling you, oh, I'm so jealous, I want to go to the beach with you, blah, 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 blah. And my mother was at the beach.
Yeah.
So why didn't I just leave?
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at it. She deserved it. She needed it. She needed to get away. She actually took off on Friday, stayed Saturday and Sunday. And so I was just like, listen, I applaud it. I know that this is something that she needed. She's grieving a lot right now. And, she hasn't drank in a while, so she had a real good time at Harry's.
Oh, gosh.
But she's got a best friend that can take care of her, and they had a really great time. And so that's what I'm happy for her for Mother's Day. That's exactly what she needed, and she was exactly where she needed to be. So, yeah, I'm happy.
And then I had to drive to 2 hours and 30 minutes to Sacramento on Tuesday for a specialty appointment for Rowan. The appointment was 45 minutes or less, and
Drove all the way up there just to turn the car around.
Turn around and come back.
No,
but it's. We got what we needed out of it. He got a new prescription, pending possible surgery later down the line. But what it comes down to is that's what we needed, because here in the Valley, wait lists were long for, these specialty appointments. And he's established with that UC Davis.
Okay.
So it's kind of easier. He already has, other physicians that follow him. So, it was easy.
All in the same group.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
And
Good.
I've been doing it since Aiden was 3 driving up there.
It's a long drive. That's crazy long. But at least he got exactly what he needed out of it. So, good. Round of applause for you. You made it there and back, because I don't know how you did it, but you did.
I know. It was tiring. I was really tired.
Moms be mommin'.
Yeah. And, we don't have the choice and the luxury of picking and choosing what appointments we go to, or when we get them, we have to go.
Yeah. What else happened for you this week? Your hair looks amazing.
Oh, yeah. I got my hair done. Shout out to my aunt that works at Sheer Magic in Clovis, California.
Plug.
Her name's Angela.
Plug.
But, yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out. I have a lot of hair, so it took her some time. But
it looks beautiful.
She loves me, and it came out good.
I was so afraid she chopped your hair when you sent me that picture. I was like, where's your hair?
I know. I think I just got,
short layers.
This part.
Yeah.
But,
I thought, hey, it was going to be a great change, but I was just like, where's your hair?
Yeah.
No, self-care right after Mother's Day is really good, so. I'm glad. I'm happy for you. I am very, very overdue for my annual haircut.
Yeah, don't wait too long, because then you have to go shorter. Because the longer you wait, the more they have to cut.
I may just choppy chop. It always happens around summertime.
Yeah.
Do you go lighter in the summer?
Yeah, I do.
And darker in the winter kind of thing?
Yeah, normally sometimes I try to stay in the middle, because I don't want to go too dark and then have to do the whole process to go light.
Yeah.
But yeah, I normally stay in the middle. I think last year in the fall it was burgundy. You remember I had like
Yeah.
burgundy, so I liked that. But then it's harder to get what I have now because the pigment. So it took a while to get I had to really let my hair grow out and get like fresh hair for this.
I don't color my hair anymore, so I chop if there's some trauma.
Trauma, I know. I'm all about that.
If you see the chop, something happened.
It's all trauma. Trauma, I need to change something. That's me with like piercings or tattoos. I like to get something like that done.
Hell yeah.
How's the no sports week, even though you got something added on, I know?
It's been good, except for I thought it was going to be no sports, but Isaac ended up going for water polo. So we got that a couple of days after school now. But I'm glad he got invited to go and hang out and try out. So that way he knows what's coming in the fall, because water polo season is first thing in the fall, like first semester. And Renzo has had AP testing all week. So
nice.
Yeah, he's going hardcore, and I'm trying to give him some space after school because I know it's a lot on the brain. It's literally like 5 hours of just pure testing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, but they're doing good. School year is almost over.
And question.
Yeah.
Just so the listeners know. Mama Bear over here, I vote to let him go to orientation by himself.
I will.
College.
Yes. Dog Days is next month. He has signed and selected Fresno State, so to my baby. Yeah, he is going to be a bulldog, and the right one this time. Yeah, so he will. I'm going to let it go. I probably either will let him ride with a friend, or I'll just do a drop-off. I did not pay for the visitor's pass.
Well, that's good, because I feel like he needs to, like, fly a little.
Yeah. This weekend we'll be stuffing envelopes and mailing out high school graduation announcements.
Yeah, because it's going to be here fast.
It's coming really quickly. So I know that we've mentioned just slightly about your children and their needs that that they each individually have. Do you want to get into it a little bit deeper about which each child faces, or are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Like from the beginning?
Yeah, we can go from the beginning. As a lot of people know, not everyone, but a lot of people know, I do have special needs children. And my daughter was diagnosed pretty young, speech delay. And that was kind of what she was just categorized as for a while. Got her services at age 2. And then after that, my son was about 18 months, maybe a little bit younger. I started working in peds, Aiden, and I started seeing he wasn't where he needed to be. As I'm rooming children, I was like, oh, my kid doesn't do that yet, you know?
The little, like, warning signs. That you may not have even noticed at first. Because I feel like we look at our children like they're the perfect angel.
Yeah. And
there's nothing wrong. There's never anything wrong at first. Unless it's, like, a visible disability. You just did not. And I don't know. I would imagine I would be in the situation where I would just be like, nah, that's not him.
Exactly. And I had a lot of people, first-time mom, always tell me, like, it's fine, give them time, you know, especially with my daughter. I mean, I didn't get her help till she was 2, and she literally talked like, the best way I could describe it is like the Call of Duty shooting. It would sound like, tick, 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 like that's how she would talk.
Okay.
And everyone's just like, oh, eventually she'll start speaking. And I was just like,
it's not a babble, it's like a,
just a noise.
Okay.
And then when my son wasn't doing simple things, that's when I was like, no, you know, I want to get him checked. And I would say he had like state insurance, so we had a doctor, and I just felt like they weren't giving him like the quality of care.
Okay.
And so when I switched him to like where I was working, right away my doctor was like, no, we need to get these studies done, this done.
Well, that's good.
And so we did that, and so he was possibly autistic because they couldn't diagnose till 3.
Okay.
Which I feel like now studies.
Wow, that's really young to notice like the warning signs of it. And what did you notice first?
The not making eye contact.
Okay.
Very. He would just cry, no talking, even less than my daughter. I would say like textures would be a thing too. And then again, like seeing the evaluations every month for, it's very important to get your kids' physicals because those questions you should answer honestly.
Right.
And I feel like before, as a parent, you want to not like think your child's not doing it. So a lot of parents go in and they're like, oh yeah, they do that. Oh yeah, they do that, do that. But in reality, if they don't, you're not really helping your child. So.
Or maybe you thought of it like they did it once. And so that counts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I, got him evaluated and diagnosed. Again, he was diagnosed at that time because they can't officially diagnose a kid autistic until 3. And he was 18 months. But I got him early intervention, speech therapy.
Caught it early.
That's
very good.
I mean, you're talking to, he didn't even say mom. Okay. He didn't know how to even point to something. He would just, if I opened the fridge and he wanted something from the fridge, he would just cry and scream, and I would pull up ketchup, whatever it was. And if it wasn't what he was wanting, he would just throw himself on the ground, like,
And how did that compare to Emma? Was she able to vocalize but not?
Yes.
Okay.
So she was always able to vocalize or point.
Okay.
Grab. Those are things he wasn't able to do.
But just not saying the word. Okay.
So they both got early intervention speech. He got early intervention ABA. And just like behaviors to help fine-tune ways that he would communicate. We did teach him some sign language when he was younger.
Okay. Just to get him through. Like if he's hungry. If he's... Okay.
And I had a lot of family support, but at the same time, there was not a lot of resources for me at that time. It was still very hush-hush. Your kids have, it was a disability, in a sense, and it was not talked about.
It's got to be really annoying for people in older generations to probably even tell you, like, oh, it'll just happen on his own time. All kids develop at their own pace or time, so just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't happen, kind of thing. Like, this isn't something you grow into. You don't just magically grow into speaking. When we're doing one-on-ones with our children and we're even you're not even realizing that you're doing it, but you may be physically doing something and saying it along the way, right? You're like, do you want something to drink? And then you're grabbing the cup. Like, do you want a cup? Do you want this? Do you want me to pour you juice? Like, you're picking up keywords that they should be picking up in order to be able to communicate that back to you. But if it's not happening, that's a big red flag.
Yes. And so that's what happened. He actually was with a company where they evaluated. So fast forward now, 18 months to 3.
Okay.
He was being evaluated, and they were just saying, oh, he's just speech delay at this one center that he was being taken to for testing. And I said, my son's under the chair crying. Won't even look at you. We're in here for maybe 40 minutes, and you're just writing him off as eventually he'll speak, and these behaviors will stop.
Yeah, no.
My son is now 10, and you know him.
You've seen him grow.
You can see him grow. He does speak now, but still not properly. And so I'm glad I didn't. I always am big for family to fight and be an advocate. You are your child's advocate. And I got a second opinion. Went to UC Davis. Drove up there. Spent 2 days there for testing. They spent a 15-minute intro with him, and we're like, how was he not diagnosed at the other place?
Oh, no.
And then they, of course, we stayed it's called the Mind Institute, and they do thorough evaluations.
Okay.
paperwork they're testing. They're watching him through glass, how he interacts, what he does and doesn't do.
Okay. They're really giving him the time of day.
Yes. Yeah. And we left there with a diagnostic of ADHD and autism back when he was 3. And that's what helps him get the services he has now.
Can you help me to understand what it means to be on the spectrum? What is the spectrum and what defines it?
There's not really a definition.
When I think of a spectrum, I think of like, are you far left or far right? Right?
It's with a spectrum, there's no endpoint at this point. Even now, they don't know what causes it. I mean, people have theories. Mm-hmm. It's just, they don't even really use it anymore, but I still use it to this knowledge, which they have like levels.
Okay.
For Aiden, he's a very high functioning autistic child on the spectrum, because he's got so much intervention.
Okay.
Right? Early intervention. Mm-hmm. He's just been getting it consistent. Once he was at the proper age, we implemented medication that helped. He also does have another diagnosis of like seizures. He gets absent seizures as well, and some active depending on what medication he takes. Mm-hmm. But he has it's so wide. But something I used to not like to hear people say, and honestly I don't take offense to it anymore, but he'll be at a playground and he was so functional. Like his running, his climbing. Yes, people would be like, oh, he doesn't look autistic.
What is it supposed to be stamped on their forehead?
Yeah.
Is he supposed to have purple hair? Like, what do you mean?
It was very like, and I would be like, well, yeah, his gross motor skills was an issue. Mm-hmm. Some children who are autistic or on the spectrum have gross motor delays.
Okay.
So you can have, be in different areas. So that's what I would, say for him. Every kid that is on the spectrum, special needs, ADHD, whatever, they're not one and the same. And that's why they say it's a spectrum, because they can't pinpoint and be like, you're supposed to look like this, you're supposed to be like this, you're supposed to act like that.
Right. But does it have like certain levels of like, you check this mark, you check these boxes in this category, so this makes you this way on the spectrum? I guess I'm just taking it too literal, because I've never been in that situation, or I've never had anybody educate me to understand I hear the word on the spectrum, but I have no idea what it means.
And it's spectrum now because the way they changed it, also from studies or like seeing journals or reading up on it, people that have like Asperger's are considered on the spectrum. So tons of things are now like there's not a cookie cutter way. Mm-hmm. And it used to be like, oh, well, you have Asperger's and you're autistic and you're, this. They're all kind of aligned now. They're starting to like studies show that they're like
somewhat connected in one way.
Connected, yes. So that's why they use spectrum.
Okay. It just means broad.
Broad, yeah.
Okay, got it. That's a better understanding for me, a better way of wording it, because it literally sounds like, are you closer to red or are you closer to blue? Like and so it kind of just throws me off, where I'm just like, what is the spectrum? What are the levels of the spectrum? Was there different categories?
And it used to be high functioning, low functioning.
Okay, maybe that's where that came from or started.
Yeah, and I think maybe some people, they just found out it wasn't right to use that terminology. Mm-hmm. But I still use it for my son because I don't know other ways to explain him.
Okay.
And
that's okay.
Like I said, a lot of people will be like, oh, he doesn't seem, or it's like, well, what is he supposed to seem like? But at the same time, I'll be like, well, he works hard. Mm-hmm. He works hard every day. He gets picked up from the house early morning, does a full day of school, and then goes to therapy afterwards until 6:30.
Yeah, he has just as long of a day as most of us have a long of a job. Like a full 8-hour job. He's working his brain all day long.
Yes. So I try to, when anyone comes to me and tells me, I just tell them, get your child help. No matter what you think, who cares about other people?
Yeah.
You know, if I cared about what everyone thought, my son would not be where he was.
Yeah.
Or is today.
Yeah. I mean, you've done the legwork, you've done your reading up, you've done everything that you needed to do to voice for him. And so I definitely applaud you for that.
I also have, you know, my youngest who, and this is where it's hard. He was really easy. And I used to,
Like as a baby?
as a baby,
Okay.
I used to take him to the doctor, hitting all his cues, all his speaking, everything. He was on marker. And then around 3.5, almost 4, he just switched. Something switched. He started having a lot of behaviors, you know, issues, and I had to get him help. You know, we had to get him help. I couldn't keep him in daycare. And so he got diagnosed with behavioral and ADHD issues. He is not on the spectrum because of testing and where he like lies, but he has similar I don't know what they call them. I wouldn't even call them. Not cues, but like.
Can you say symptoms? Is that even
It wouldn't
relatable?
It wouldn't be symptoms. It would be
like something along that. Are you looking in that direction of
yeah,
a word? Okay.
Like cues. I would say probably. You know, texture things. A little bit anxiety. Structure. He needs to know the plan. Doesn't want
don't come off the
don't
plan.
come off the plan. He doesn't do well with like changes. Certain things, like I know in school he wouldn't write with a pencil because of the sound. I mean, sensitivity to things, but because of where his IQ level is, he's testing really high and everything. He can pass all the tests for being the test that they use for autism.
Okay.
So he doesn't have those social struggles.
Okay. So they do not classify him as autistic.
No.
Okay. That's good to make that distinguish between, you know, the all 3 children, right? And Rowan, he doesn't do therapy.
He doesn't do ABA therapy. We had him in behavioral therapy, which is to learn to properly play and work on his emotions. Unfortunately,
Which has gotten better.
It has gotten better.
He's recognizing his triggers, I think. I've heard him, you know, in the car, or I've heard you're in conversations with him, and I feel like he's a day and night from where he was just a year ago.
Yes. I mean, you know, I had to quit my job just to take care of him. Also had to get law enforcement involved. I mean, he had a struggle this past year, and I'm so proud of like the growth he's had.
He was a little ticking time bomb. You just never knew what was going to actually trigger him.
And it was different things.
Yeah.
It was never the same. And I feel like now, because we talked to him, because of therapy, and he's in a program at school that helps him with those. Since he doesn't get outside therapy, he gets help in school now. He learns to be like, "You're making me mad, Mom." Like vocalizing why he's mad. I'm like, well, why are you mad? You know, and things too. Like he's not seeing, like, he doesn't really take a fault for things. He wants to blame others. So he'll be like, "I did that because you." I said, "Well, you know, what did I do to make you think that?" And a lot of it is because of his high IQ. He almost like has it set in his mind that we're going to do something before we do it, or that it's not making sense to him.
Okay.
He's very literal. So,
but he is learning cause and effect now.
Yes. I mean, if I say something and I'll be like, you know, for instance, I wanted him to wear sunblock. And I was like, "Rowan, put on sunblock." "I don't want to wear sunblock." I'm like, "Fine, I don't care then." And he's like, so you don't care about me? And I'm like, I didn't say I didn't care about you.
Right.
Did I say I didn't care about you?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, you said you don't care. I'm like, because you're not going to put it on. I'm not going to fight with you.
Right. It's
if
not worth the battle.
you want to get sun cancer when you're older, that is your choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to fight with you. And he was just like, okay, I'll put it on.
But, But would it have been any different if you would say, Rowan, we're all going to wear sunblock today because the sun can really hurt our skin? Do you think that he would have taken the time to like piece it together of like, okay, I should listen to her because she has logic behind what she's saying instead of just like, Rowan, do this?
Yes. So if it's a demand, he has demand avoidance, which is also something that he has to work on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, hey, Rowan, should you put on your shoes right now? Or I'd be like, hey, Rowan, you should probably put sunblock on. You think it's kind of hot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's my choice?
Yeah.
I'll choose to do it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, anything I say, I have to, and I'm not perfect. So yeah, of course, sometimes I'm like, do this, but that's where the conflict comes in.
Right.
And then I just have to just like, okay, well, I'll let it go. Like,
You pick and choose your battles because you have 3 children to work with on these things. But also, if you're aware of what you're saying can be changed in a way to get him to do it, I know that you take the time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, he wakes up pretty early in the morning. So I just know, okay, you have this much time, to do this and this. And then if you didn't do it, well, then you didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
If he's distracted, like if I serve him a bowl of cereal and it's right in front of him, but he's like looking at the TV or whatever, or his iPad, he'll be like, well, you didn't tell me my cereal's soggy. It's right in front of you, and I did tell you it was done.
Mm-hmm.
Now that it's soggy, that's on you. Your bus is here. You can eat at school.
Yeah. That makes... Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I just feel like... I wonder, will he learn to recognize those things for himself, like, in time? Or
I think in time.
Okay.
I think as he's maturing.
Mm-hmm.
I think my next goal would try to just get him help in that aspect. Unfortunately, behavioral play therapy is really expensive. A lot of insurances don't cover it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of places that do it don't take insurance for it because they don't get paid for it.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. It's $80 a visit.
Oh.
Sometimes $100 depending on where you go.
And insurances may or may not cover it.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of places they'll be like, you can pay up front and then you can bill your insurance
To see if they
will reimburse you.
Oh, no, thank you.
So it got really costly for a while, and we did do it for a while, but then when he started getting more help at the school, we scaled back on that because it was just costing between me and Dad having to pay, every other visit or split each visit.
Yeah.
It still gets costly.
Do you have any resources that you would like to share or plug into this episode? Any influencers that you follow, any programs that you might want to mention, or like I know one of the words that you mentioned a lot is like the IEPs. Like, is that like?
Oh, I would say once your kid is also this is legally they say this. Once your child is 3 and at school age or preschool, your district is responsible to get you services and evaluated. And anyone can ask to be evaluated. It just has to be written.
Can we say that louder for the people in the back?
Anyone can be evaluated
at the age of 3.
At the age of 3. And I mean, you can, of course, do outside sources through your doctor, having go to psychologists. I mean, we have in Fresno County and other counties around us locally, it's called Central Valley Regional Center, which is CVRC, and that's where kids can go and get evaluated, get services, early intervention, EPU.
What is that?
education. I don't know what it means, but EPU.
Okay.
We'll look
I have
at.
to ask these questions because I don't know.
We'll look it up and put it up there, and then of course, again, we have Valley Children's offer speech therapy, OT therapy. There's many behavioral therapy places in Fresno. Autism Center. There's also I don't even know the other name. There's so many.
It's good.
You just have to look. I mean, you just have to look
or drive.
Or drive. Find the one that fits your family. Some when they're young, you get services in your home. Mm-hmm. But again, once they're 3, you go to whatever unified, and you just write a letter and submit it. Literally, I want my child to be evaluated for whatever. Mm-hmm. Is it speech, behavioral services. They have more than just an IEP. They have 504 plans. They have just so many resources that people don't always use. They're not easy to get. It does take a process, but it's your child. Mm-hmm. So we want to see all of the littles succeed. Mm-hmm. And, whether that means having an aide in the classroom or possibly homeschooling or whatever it is, that the tools that they need to succeed in their education, that's the goal. Yes. Right? Because eventually they're going to turn into little adults, and they're going to need all of the tools that they need to grow into whomever they may become. Our biggest goal, and this is something that when people ask me too, how do you know like Daniel was the one? I knew for many reasons, but when we talk about future, he's always said, well, we're always going to have Aiden. He's always going to need us, and he's always, we're always going to have a place for him. He was like, of course, any of the kids. Yeah. But not that 18 and boot. Yeah. Yeah. But I was just like, oh, like, okay, yeah. Like he accepts that he knows we'll always have to supervise. Mm-hmm. Our end goal for him is to always be, since he is so high functioning, there's adult places where he can go, eventually have his own studio. They teach them. He's even learning right now how to buy things with money. Mm-hmm. And, get change, and so that way he can eventually be on his own. Grow independency. And not always rely on having to live with someone or someone always take care of him. Yeah. Of course, we will always take care of him. Right. But, yeah. I love that fact because, if something happened to me, I know, like, he would be taken care of. Right. Yeah, no, that's a big green flag. Yeah. Love that. And to just simply accept that he's not dating you. Mm-hmm. He's dating all of you. Yes. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I remember telling Jesse when we first started talking, like, listen, I come with others. Mm-hmm. I come in as a package deal. Mm-hmm. So if you date me, you date them all. Yes. And you gotta love me and you gotta love us all. So that's definitely a big green flag for me. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah. That makes me want to cry. I know. He does have a soft side. He takes all of us in the baggage. I'm like, gosh, did you know you signed up for 3 kids that have some kind of problems? But, I mean, he loves them, and, you have a lot of family support. You have a lot of friends that support you. Mm-hmm. I think that your circle is very loving for you and your children. I remember when I first met you and your children, and I mean, it's you without even saying it, you could see there was, mm-hmm. there was some things that your children could or could not do. And I was like, this is fine. This is okay. I mean, we're going to help you. You've seen me. Yeah. I have chased Aiden. That has stopped. Yeah. He doesn't elope anymore as much. Yeah. Oh, man. He scared the shit out of me that day when he took off running. And I was just like, he's fast. Yeah, he is fast. And I have not ran in a long time. But I'm going to help
I'm going to help you, mama. Like,
Yeah.
your hands are full. And while you juggle there, I'm going to go help you here, or whatever I can do to just take a little bit of stress off of you for just a short amount of time. I will definitely do that. So whatever you need.
Yeah. I used to be nervous to take them anywhere.
Really?
I was really nervous, but then eventually I was like, I don't care if people are staring at me, if my kid's screaming or
That's
giving
what was
me a hard
stopping you?
time. Yeah, yes, I didn't like going one alone to stores, but then again with the kids. I would bring someone and have them wait in the car, or, and then eventually I was like, no, like, I can do this, and I don't care if my kid throws himself on the ground. I will pick them up and carry them screaming out of the store. So I think that gave me strength too, and also not caring what people think. I do feel when they were younger, I wouldn't go places because of that, because of certain things, even people's homes. I have family members that have really nice china, glass everywhere. It was not except like my kids, kid friendly at all. And I wouldn't go there. I would have anxiety. I didn't like to go there. But I think that ended up hurting some like friendships. Like my kids could have probably been closer to some family. But I also feel like at the time when my kids were younger, and because of what was going on in their life, my family, like you said, my close circle, they would know I'm going to put this and this up. I mean, even your boys, when they were younger, when we first started coming over to your house, and I would be like, oh my God, you know. I know a couple times Aiden got into, Isaac's Legos or something, but, eventually the boys were like, we'll just lock our doors, like,
but also
you would make accommodations.
Legos.
Yeah.
They can be rebuilt. And that's what I would have to explain to them is like, I understand you took the time and energy to make this, and it's upsetting to see it broken, but it's just a Lego. So whether something can be rebuilt or repurchased, it's okay. They're just materials.
Yes.
It is what, and if you really, and like you said, like if you really don't want somebody in your space, then you're just gonna have to close your door.
Yeah.
And, I think it worked.
Yeah.
So, and now that they've gotten older, I think, even the children have seen your children's growth and stuff too. So, yeah, I think it's all been good.
Yeah.
So, like we've mentioned before, that you do currently work at my two kids' pediatrics doctor's office, and I don't know if I want to say that I can count my blessings, but sort of in a way that I have not had to face the challenges that you have right now. And like I continue to mention that I'm learning a lot from you. And I'm going to ask a lot of questions because I can't relate. And so I just want to be able to soak it up and think of, questions that maybe other people might have. And if there's any questions or topics that we haven't touched, if anybody wants to write in or, leave us a comment or a review or anything that you want us to go back and touch on. Your doctor that you work for, she's been a blessing. We haven't run into anything like that, but I did have in my own personal life when I don't know how to explain this, but I'll do my best. After I got pregnant at 17, I had Renzo at 18. And like I was telling you, I did see a therapist that was in your current therapist's office. Yeah. That I was seeing someone there because I was having really bad anxiety. And I think at the time, nobody caught to, I think, tether it together with postpartum, because I wasn't I wasn't depressed and I wasn't crying all the time and I wasn't, feeding my baby and things like that. But I was having very scary thoughts. Thoughts that I was going to hurt my baby.
Yeah.
Thoughts that I was going to be the worst mother, even though it was never my intention. All of the things that I cannot even speak of because it terrifies me to think that that was a whole person that I was at one point in time. And so when I was going through all of this and testing and everything like that, they did end up diagnosing me. And now I also have another question that I'm hoping that you can help me answer. Is at the time they diagnosed me with ADD with OCD tendencies. Does ADD still exist? And do adults have ADHD now? Because I don't hear of it anymore.
I'm not 100% sure, but again, it's probably something on the lines of they align with each other, just like the spectrum.
Right, okay.
So it's kind of even like OCD. Like it's on that spectrum, same spectrum of ADD, ADHD, OCD. They're all have intertwined.
Okay. I never ended up, I pretty shortly after that quit the therapy because I was on state insurance and, things like that. And so I kind of never went back and followed up on it. And I've admitted multiple times that I need a lot of therapy for a lot of different things in my life. But he did give me some tools to take and use in my life for coping mechanisms and things like that. Like I'm talking, if I did not do my routine, just like Rowan, if I did not do my routine, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, if it turned into like A, G, B, F, and then C, I was completely off my rocker. And I was having the worst day and I was having the worst thoughts during those days. I wasn't a tap the light switch 7 times before I left the room, but I was definitely did I turn the stove off? Did I do this? And I think some of those things still linger in my present day. But it's in the form of high anxiety that I see things 10 steps out, right? You've heard me, I've said some dumb shit, but I always think of the 3 scenarios that can play out in front of me every step of my day. And that's why I asked you, do you think that this is something that he'll end up living with? Like, will he be able to cope with it eventually? Because he's getting all the tools that he needs right now. I never followed through with the tools that were being handed to me. I never went about figuring out why I ended up having the thoughts that I had. I never dealt with the postpartum. I never dealt with the anxiety. I've never actually had to sit and deal with it. I've just been functioning. Does that make sense?
You're high functioning.
She's diagnosing. We are not doctors. We are just experienced.
Yeah, we are not doctors. Disclaimer, or therapists.
We are just experienced people.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, you like to look up a menu before we even go to a restaurant.
That's menu anxiety.
Menu anxiety is real, guys.
Where are we going? Let me look it up. And do they have a coupon?
Why doesn't their menu have pictures?
I have all of the questions. I will phone a friend to ask them what to order at this new restaurant. Which now Isaac has. Oh my God, he's the worst in every drive-through.
He's a little old man that's grumpy, and he's not.
He's my mini me.
Literally, he's your mini me.
Did I do this to him?
Yeah, I mean,
am I gonna be okay?
You'll be okay.
I know that I
you
have
need
some
therapy.
Things. I know,
but you'll be fine.
I know I have a lot of things that I need to work on. I don't know. I think that I've calmed down a lot. But I think that there's just a lot of things that I still need to go and figure out because I hide it well, I think. But I'm pretty fucked up.
Don't cry today. I think we all have our own things. I mean, this is just an example, and I told the people at work today, I'm like, okay, just leave me alone. I probably have like OCD or something. We still have charts.
Mm-hmm.
Don't laugh, guys.
She lives in the Stone Age.
We still have charts, and when we get a form, which is a soap note, it's double-sided.
Mm-hmm.
You hole punch it and you put it in the chart.
Mm-hmm.
I like to pre-hole punch both ends because let's say they came today and I put the soap note in and then they have to come next week or whatever in a few days, you can just flip it over and put it in.
Mm-hmm.
People just hole punch it once and then when they, let's say the patient comes again later this week,
Mm-hmm.
they have to take it out of the chart and hole punch it again
Mm-hmm.
to flip it over.
It's a little irk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a preference,
Mm-hmm.
but I, was telling the girl today, and she's like, gosh, Cass, I go, I know I'm so needy, but it's, it's just a little thing that I'm like, it helps me move faster.
Right.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
But I was like, leave me alone, I probably have OCD, okay? I'm not officially diagnosed, but it probably.
Yeah, but just because someone else isn't thinking it doesn't mean that it might not be the proper way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I think all of us have things. Obviously, I'm in therapy because I work constantly on things. I don't think I told you this, but when I had Rowan, I was, single mom already.
Right.
Dad and I were like, we're not getting back together.
Mm-hmm. Parking lot loving.
We were already broken up, gone to court one time. And we just decided it was best for us to not be together.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so worried I was going to get postpartum that I actually had, shout out to my mom and Jenna. They went to the hospital, picked up my placenta, and made me placenta pills.
Oh, you did that.
I did that.
That's dope.
Um,
That's some Courtney K shit.
and I was also in therapy. I started therapy while I was pregnant.
Okay.
Because I was just so nervous of that.
That's some preventative
being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Having 2 kids that didn't speak still at the time.
Yeah.
I was just, I didn't want to have postpartum. I think I was so scared to get it.
Mm-hmm.
That I eventually got it. Later down the road, he was a little over a year.
I don't think that there's a time limit
There isn't.
for postpartum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went because I went back and got different therapy.
Yeah. No, that makes
But,
sense. But you did do the preventative legwork, and that, yeah, I did not. I just threw myself into the wolves and tried to figure it out as I went. And I probably could ask the kids' dads that, do you even remember that I went through all of this? And he may not even remember because he was working to provide for us, and I was just dealing with it. It was just me and my baby that I thought that I was going to harm. And it was the worst. Being alone was the worst thing for me, I think, at that time. And I didn't even know how to acknowledge it or cry for help or anything like that. And so,
and think about it, back when you're 17, it still wasn't, everything was so hush hush. I talk about things now with my grandma, about, past family members, that had issues, and were, diagnosed mentally retarded because of back then, that's what
it was the only thing
they can do.
Yeah.
And I said,
we don't know what it is, but we know it ain't right.
Yes, and I told my grandma, well, how do we know he wasn't autistic? How do we know he wasn't these things? But it didn't exist, and it wasn't talked about.
Right.
If he would have maybe possibly got help, if they had those interventions at that time, who knows what his life could have been. Yeah. And that's where I tell my grandma, everything was so hush-hush, and shameful if you were different, and,
Oh, yeah, I was terrified. I thought that people were going to take my baby away from me if I would have told them what was going on. But giving the hindsight, I probably should have made a phone call and said, Mom, please come get him. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I probably should have went away for somewhere, like at some therapy retreat or something like that. Like I probably should have spoken up. And so, you know, that's the reason why we're here today, right? I mean, we want to be able to tell people, like, see the warning signs. If you don't see the warning signs, then at least acknowledge it maybe after and seek the help that you need. And we can try to help you with whatever resources that we've have, or can at least point you in the right direction, possibly, or point you to someone who can help you. But definitely do not be afraid to ask for help.
No. I mean, I couldn't sing without crying, and this is how I knew I had postpartum. I couldn't sing "You Are My Little Sunshine" with the kids, and that was one of what parent doesn't sing that to their child while they're rocking them?
Yeah.
I couldn't sing it without crying.
Did you do it to the first two?
Yes.
And then so the third one, you kind of realized this is different.
And I think it was more the guilt. I mean, I knew he wasn't going to have this same life memories that they had until, you know, we didn't separate until Aiden was about 18 months when we were getting him diagnosed officially and everything. So they had those. I mean, now they don't remember and they see pictures, but they at least have pictures to look back at and be like, oh, my parents were together. We had these memories together. And I think that was what got me, is he wasn't going to have those memories, and am I enough for him?
Like a punch in the gut, huh? Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Given the circumstances that I was in at that time, that I should have gotten out of a lot quicker. I think that was played a big role into giving me some postpartum for sure. So yeah, I mean, for moms who are new to the game, for moms who are in their and seniority in the game, we can talk about this. We're a safe space to talk. So we know that, you know, last week was kind of a laughing matter and things like that, and we don't want to get too serious on you, but these are things that this has gotten us to why we created this platform, right? So that's why we encourage people to reach out to us and let us know what you want us to talk about, and how we can possibly help you. So yeah, I'm happy to say that this is why we're here. We're not afraid to talk about it.
Yeah, I feel like that's the one thing I told you, you know, even now with patients that come in and, you know, we're needing to send them somewhere, I always try to, you know, give my best advice, because there's so many more resources now, and I always tell you, like, I'm glad we're doing this. This probably won't be the only episode we talk about this.
Right,
so
but we want to lay it down.
We want to, you know, and even, hey, if we come in correct us. You know, we are all about, you know, improving, learning ourselves, growth. I mean,
yeah,
there's people out there that might, you know, of course, can know more than I know and help in that aspect too.
Or maybe you've been friends with us for years, or, you know, or new friends that, you know, really can try to confide in us and be like, oh my God, I didn't even know that part about her, and I've been struggling with this, and now I feel like I have a safe space to go to. We're never going to mention any names or anything like that, but we just want to be able to tell you that, you know, the raw and real honest truth, that we're here and we're not afraid to speak up about it. So I want to end today's episode on a lighthearted note, and I'll see if I can make you cry. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God.
I like to look at our podcast like a book that we're writing, right? You know, just because it's not being put down on pen and paper doesn't mean that this isn't something that we may look back at later on in life, or that, my kids are listening to us today. So, you know, your kids may grow up and listen to this one day, someday. Do you have anything that you want to tell your kids?
That's not lighthearted. I feel like my kids obviously know I love them, but I feel like I would like them to know I always done the best that I can, you know,
Yeah.
with the resources for them that I was able to have. Yeah.
That's a good way of putting that. I agree.
You're gonna make me cry.
I see your mama. She over here doing everything that she can possibly do for you. To my boys, I just want to say that I love you both so much. And you guys have grown into little men that I love and respect. And just know that I will always be here being a mama bear. Doesn't matter how old you get.
She's not lying.
I'm not lying.
She's gonna be that mom at your wedding that is like, it's about me. Just kidding. You're not good enough for my son.
Actually, the one that's coming out right now, I love my little daughter-in-law. She's the cutest. But I think for both of our kids, I think they both know that. I love the way that you said about Aiden, like, come home. Mm-hmm. We will always be here for you. We will always love you, protect you, care for you, take care of you. It really doesn't matter how old you are. You will always need your mother, and we will always be here for you.
Yeah, I definitely want the kids to know. You can always come home. It doesn't matter. We might always... Don't be scared. It's normal for you to not always please your parent. And it's okay for them to be disappointed. Or I think even disappointed is the wrong word. But we will always try to help, push you in the right direction.
Yeah. All right. Let's call it a wrap.
Goodbye, besties.
See you next Thursday.
Thanks for listening to another hour of our bullshit.
Make sure you follow us on all of our socials at bfil.podcast.
You can catch us every week on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Bye, besties.